Yes, welcome to today's episode of Lunch with Looney and Lars. I am Lars, and I look like Looney. Looney, where are you? Come get a treat. Come get a treat, Luna. Come on. Luna, where's a treat? Where's a treat? Come on, Luna. There she is. Come on. Wait for it. Luna, get up here. We rehearsed this, Luna. Come on. Where are you? Come on. Luna, wait for it. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
Da da da.
Da, 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 da.
There we go. All right. I am Lars. Thank you for joining us, Lunch with Looney and Lars. And we, of course, have our house band / musical director, Chris Larson, a.k.a. Bumpus Ballfield, in the house. Give us a little riff, Chris.
All right.
Chris is slapping the bass. And I'm super pumped right now. This is the first guest ever on Lunch with Looney and Lars. I've only known this guy for how long? Since like August of this past year. So not long. And I got to tell you, you viewers, if you're listening, watching, however you're digesting this right now, you're in for a treat. He's already one of my favorite people, one of the most impressive people I've ever met. He's been a professional soccer player. He's been a professional tennis player. He's a professional martial artist, actor, stuntman, director, producer, entrepreneur, and he has also been dubbed, this is official, this is on his wiki page and on his bios, the nicest guy on set. Give it up for my friend, the extraordinary Taz Garcia. That's him.
Woo! What an intro. Thank you.
Yeah, what an intro.
Yes, the intro, love it. Woo! It was getting hot in here.
You deserve it. You deserve the intro. And not to begin this with entirely ass kissing, but I wouldn't, this isn't just ass kissing. I wouldn't be blowing smoke up your ass, and I wouldn't have you on the show if I wasn't impressed by you. Every time I've been around you, you've been super nice, super positive. The energy you exude is magnetic and attracts other people. I've seen how other people react and the effect you have on other people. And then when we booked you, I messaged you a couple days ago to be on the show, and you were available, which was amazing. And I went further into your wiki. I knew you were an actor. I knew you were a director, producer. I knew you were an entrepreneur with Movie Expo. We'll get into all that stuff. But so many of the other things in your bio, I'm like, holy shit, this guy has just been winning and excelling since day one. Almost to the point where I'm like, if I wasn't also a positive person, I would be mad at you. I'd be like, fuck this guy. Like, he's too much of an achiever. Like, you make me sick. Like, I would hate you. I feel like I would not like you if we had met in sports and you were on the other team. I would instinctually not like you because we were on the other team, and I would see that you were like the MVP of that team. But then if we met on an all-star game or we talked off the field, I'd be like, I fucking love this guy. This guy's the best. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, man. And what an intro.
It was like a double intro. Yeah.
I'm blessed and grateful. And here we are.
So first,
love the shirt, by the way. Love the shirt.
Thank you. I love your shirt. Let's see it. What's it say? How about lunch? And that's a shark.
It's a shark.
That's a shark. Yeah, nice. So my first question is the easiest question, and I think it's going to be traditionally the first question of every episode of Lunch with Looney and Lars. We're setting precedences here. So what we do today, Taz, is going to...
I'm the guinea pig.
It's going to echo in podcast history right there. This is going to be the first one. For sure, this is going to be the most downloaded episode of this show. And people are going to make their decision whether or not to continue and listen to the podcast based on this. So there's a lot of pressure on us right now.
No pressure.
They love this and they move forward, or they never listen to another one again. So my first question is, what's for lunch?
Well, I made myself a ciabatta bun. Just gave it a little golden glaze, I guess. Some lettuce, freshly sliced and diced tomato, a buttermilk
Let's
homemade
see. Can we
chicken
see the
breast.
visual? Can we see the visual on some of this? Okay, continue the description.
And it's a little cold now, thanks to your intro. No, okay.
Lars's fucking intros are so long.
Jeez, man. Jeez, dude.
Hold on, though. Did you say that you made that ciabatta bun?
I didn't make the bun. No, I can make it actually from scratch.
You could.
I could, yeah.
Jesus, too many skills here. All right.
Oh,
so
I mean, dude, you learn how to cook, you're okay. You can survive.
that's good, especially in these apocalyptic, strange, and uncertain times.
Yeah, imagine Uber Eats was gone.
Right? Yeah, yeah. How are you? We should. I don't want to spend too much time talking doom and gloom and COVID because people can get that on every news channel and every social media spot ever right now. But where are you? How is this affecting you and your family, friends?
You know, I'll tell you something. It's I'm perfectly okay with it. It's the one thing I'm not okay with is the people getting hurt. I think that's the saddest thing. But when I talk to a lot of people and I try and brighten their days and spread positivity, because it's a very different world I feel that we live in. There's a lot of people that have never heard the word no, and they have routines, and humans as human beings, we just have routines, whether sleep, food, work, whatever it is. And when you break that, it's a shock to your system and to your brain. So I'm seeing a lot of my friends, industry or not, they're just really suffering. And it's not because they're not physically or mentally strong. It's just you break that routine, it kind of puts that little curveball, I guess. So I've been talking to them. I'm like, guys, listen, there was a time when I was a kid, I was 10. And I was, the first 10 years of my life, I was around the Gulf War. And it was a very similar time to this. And it was bad. It was bad. There's no Netflix. There was no Wi-Fi. We had blackout hours because back then, lucky for us, the technology for the fighter jets that were flying above and dropping bombs, they didn't have the heat vision and everything that they have now. So at 8 or 7 p.m., we would turn all the lights off. We would switch them all off. So when they're flying above the buildings, they won't see the 3D. It would all be flat from up above.
Wow.
So that was kind of like a good portion of my childhood. So like I said, and again, literally right across, I could see the fighter jets coming in, refuel, load up the missiles, take off again. So this, in a way, I'm like, we're blessed. You look outside, there's no crazies with guns, no extra stars in the sky. That's really rockets being launched at whatever's flying up in the air. No raid sirens, no random, hey, is it going to be our apartment or our building or our condo that's going to be bombed next kind of thing. You're just like, oh, I'm asked to be home. Okay, all right, I'll stay home. Get creative. And it's honestly, I'm looking at the positive in everything. I'm like, you know what, this is something that's temporary, but at the same time, we travel a lot for work, where we're on set long hours. We do a lot of stuff where, oh, I don't have time, I'm busy, I'm this. Oh yeah, I'll get to it later. Yeah, we'll chat later, interview later, I'll read your script after. Yeah, we should do something sometime. Now all these excuses are set aside, and now this is the time. You wanted to read a book, there you go. You wanted to write a script, there you go. You know what I mean? You wanted to work out, now's the time. Oh, but I work all day and I have to take a bath. No excuses now, right? So it's a very good time to grow and really push yourself and even discover certain things about you from the inside out. There's certain things where we get really comfortable, whether it's a business, a mindset, and you're just like, yeah, I know I should, I know I could, but there's no motivation. So when someone comes in, or something like a pandemic comes in and pokes that bubble, you're like, I either die or I got to adapt to keep moving forward, right? So that's, but I feel great, like I said.
I love that, man. I'm so happy that you're the first guest on the show, because I feel like that's exactly what people need to hear. And that's kind of the wavelength that I've been on. And I had that thought yesterday that we're so, when I say we, meaning probably most Canadians, most North Americans, people born and raised here, we've been so lucky for the most part. No wars, no major natural disasters, at least where I'm from. Like I know in the
Yep.
States, they have hurricanes, maybe they have tornadoes or the odd earthquake in California. But for the most part, no threat to your life. So it's been just easy, smooth sailing. The only thing really that we've ever, in my life, that I've ever had hold me back was me, like being lazy or having bad habits. So I was thinking about that. People who have been through war, or people who have been through like if you've been in prison or in a prison camp, or like a Holocaust type scenario, people who've lived through that. This is nothing. It's weird because there's the fear and the uncertainty of it, but our day-to-day lifestyle is still super cushy and super comfortable.
Yep.
We just have to keep our minds straight. So I appreciate
And
that.
I think you hit it right on the head there when you said people are comfortable, but it's more or less the unknown. People fear the unknown. You know, it's kind of like fearing the dark. It's not you fear the dark, you feel that you're afraid of what could be lurking in the dark. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. It's kind of, you're just navigating like this blind pilot. You have no clue where you're going. You have no coordinates. You don't know where you're going to land. You know, if it's like, hey, this is going to be 6 weeks, you're like, okay, in 6 weeks, yeah, okay. It's like a mini vacation or extended vacation, and I'm going to get back to my regular life and regular process. But at this point, it's kind of like question mark, and people feel insecure about that, right? But I mean, take it one step at a day. Take it one step at a day. Live your life. You're alive. You can see, you can breathe, you're healthy, whatever it is, just enjoy it, right? Just enjoy it. Complaining and finding the problems in a solution, find the solution to the problem, right? Just adapt and just keep moving forward. So that's my 2 cents for the COVID.
Right, totally. Well, thank you for sharing that. I've been on the same wavelength, trying to use it as an opportunity to reset my habits and routines, do all the things I've wanted to be doing, do more of this podcast style with friends and colleagues and peers. By the way, I'll unveil this is a big part of the show.
I was just going to ask you, what are you eating? Ooh, pasta. Can't go wrong, man.
Cold spaghetti right now. We should eat some of this. Feel free to take bites. There's no rudeness. This is a tuna wrap with some apple slices in it, little tuna wrap. And this is my tip for you. I spiced it up a bit. I have regular mayonnaise, but then I mix taco seasoning in with the mayonnaise to make it kind of a spicy chipotle mayonnaise. So
nice, nicely done, nicely done. So I'm eyeing this thing on the corner. It looks like a Kinder Bueno or something, whatever that is.
This?
Ooh.
That's Luna's
well,
lunch.
Never mind. It looked a lot more delicious in my head, but it looks nutritious.
And I got this. This is my sporting greens.
It's the ooze.
Bio Steel sports greens, antioxidants and probiotics and amino acids in
nice
form. Yeah. So we got it going.
Very cool. So I'm gonna have the first bite as we.
Yeah. Oh. Cheers to lunch.
Cheers. Oh, so good. The meat to it.
This is cool. When would we have had lunch? We would have put each other's lunches off forever and ever. Oh, next week. Classic Hollywood thing. Yeah.
Crazy Hollywood talk. Yeah, sometime, somewhere, with someone.
All right. So next segment. This is something I like to do before. I want to go back into your life, and then we'll go into the future in your life a little bit with an interview.
Let's do it.
But, I want to start with this to give people a little bit of framework, and also I find it makes a great Instagram clip. I want to hear Taz Garcia's life story in 1 minute. Taz Garcia's 1 minute life story. If you want a second, tell me when you're ready. Are you ready? And I can give you I'll keep track of the timer.
Almost there.
You good?
All right.
Okay. And hit it.
Little kid, huge dreams. Identified with a lot of cartoon characters. Had crazy dreams, according to a lot of people. Parents became supportive after they saw how passionate, truly from the heart I was. I got into sports, then kept eyeing the entertainment industry. Even while I was doing my academic route, I finished that. I worked. I felt like a chimp that was sitting behind a computer, and I kept pursuing my passion, which eventually became a career. Worked with some of my idols, and I continue to do a lot of charity and hope to keep inspiring all the people and students that I come across that are like, man, well, my parents told me I can't, or that's impossible, or that's silly, or that's a good pastime or hobby on the side, but I need to pay the bills. So I remember hearing Arnie once, which stuck in my head, where he said, what's your goal? To a bunch of amateur bodybuilders, and one of them said, if I'm fit, I'm going to compete. And he's like, you should go, because that attitude is not the attitude of someone that wants to become a champion, right? If you make it a point and you set your vision, you're like, by July, I want to have this body to be able to compete. By this time, I want to have this body to look good in my suit, to look good in my dress, to look good in ABC. Then you're setting a vision, you're making it a point to be ready. But if you're like, hey, by fluke, by chance it happened, then maybe I'll just enter a competition. You're always going to have a plan B. You're always going to have a backup, a safety net. And when there's a safety net, there's comfort, which we discussed earlier, right? So you're all in, it's all in or nothing.
Nice. All in or nothing. Well, according to your wiki and your IMDb and your bios, you've been all in or nothing, because everything you do professionally. So I feel like every sport and hobby you've ever done, you're on top level. So you were as a junior, you played soccer with was it Man U?
Yeah, so it was Manchester United.
So you were in the system for like, as what age bracket?
So we were 10 at the time, and it was between the age of 10 and 13. And three of us got scouted by a Scottish football or soccer club. And they brought us to this open scout session. And then Sir Alex Ferguson at the time, he wasn't really Sir yet, but he brought us onto the field. We all tried out. He loved us. He said, okay, well, you guys are going to stay here as part of the Man U juniors. And we said, I guess that's really cool. We didn't really understand how crazy it was until we started seeing David Beckham on the field. We started seeing Scholes and York and Schmeichel and Gerrard and Neville's and all these people, Ryan Giggs and Eric Cantona. And I'm like, oh my God, holy crap. And imagine, as a punishment, you did 500 free kicks with David Beckham, right? We hated them because they were like our older brothers. But then the beauty is, you see the work that they put in, you see the work ethic that they put in, and you're like, okay, when finally this person gets their shot, the 98% of that iceberg that you see, the big base and foundation and hours and hours and hours of work and scrimmage and drills and all that, you don't see. And all of a sudden they get their one chance like David did, and boom, he became a star. And it all happened because he was ready. And when somebody in that position got hurt, he was the person that could sub in for that position. And he did. And everyone's like, who's David? First it like, right. Bex. Who's Bex? David. David who? David Beckham. Okay, come on, lad. And he got in, took a shot, boom, became David Beckham. And people are like, overnight, this guy appeared. Yes, it's when the shine and the spotlights were on him. But prior to that, time and time again. And same thing, Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo, the young Ronaldo, not the other Brazilian Ronaldo. Cristiano, when he showed up and he was super talented at the time, and they sent him back, right? Because paperwork and politics and how England functions is very similar to how LA functions. LA is, everyone wants to be an actor and they go there pursuing their acting, writing, showbiz dreams. In London, when you go there, everyone's like, I want to be a footballer. I want to be a pro footballer, right? So that's basically the mindset. So they saw a bunch of us that came in with somebody that like, they're biting their tongue. But if you just went in by yourself as a free agent or freelance, it was very easy to kick you out. And then Ronnie had a chance to come back again. And when he did, he was ready. He had the paperwork, he had everything. And it was a perfect time because that's when Beckham was already switching out. Right? But again, he's one of the people, first one in, last one out. You know what I mean? And the beauty is you see so much hate. And the hate, I call it like the success gauge, the successometer. You know, the more hate, you never see anyone that's doing better than you hating on you.
Right. Right. That's why I mentioned there's a little bit in everyone when they see someone like, oh man, but that's
Yeah,
only a reflection of the part in me that thinks I should be doing
exactly.
better.
Exactly.
Be
And I
like,
mean, our
fuck,
industry is
this guy's
packed with
winning
stuff like that.
everything. I need to do that. Yeah.
It's crazy. So that was kind of my adventure with that. I was going to go to a special school that they had, which was going to be 70 to 80% soccer training, and then we do all our basics like the sciences, the math, and the English classes. But then my dad just pulled me and he was like, "Nope, school's more important. What happens if you get injured? And then what are you going to do? Just get married and sit at home?" And then 3, 4 years later, Cristiano Ronaldo took my exact same spot. And I saw
Wow.
that, I was like, "Ugh." I sat my dad down. I was like, "You see this?" He's like, "Yeah, but you know, like, look." And I'm like, "Thanks for being supportive. I'm going to be an actor." He's like, "Oh my God, here we go again." I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, maybe I'm going to land the role where I play a soccer pro. Who knows?"
Right. So all of
Yeah.
those, all of those soccer jerseys could have said Tazito instead of Ronaldo on them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty funny.
Amazing.
It's
Well,
it's pretty funny. Yeah,
you're the
and then when I first came to Toronto, it was an interesting journey too, because you come in from a completely different world where soccer is like their number one game, and then you come here and it's, you know, you've got your basketball, lacrosse, you have baseball, hockey, and soccer was associated with like soccer moms and soccer girls. And I'm like, so we started off playing like house leagues and whatnot, and then I played for Toronto Lynx at the time for about half a season, and then that shut down. And then that's when they started saying we're going to create something called Toronto Football Club, which is TFC.
Hmm.
And at that time, I had a really bad injury. Literally, my ankle was like this. I couldn't keep it up. It just. So I made the first tryouts to like come in tomorrow. I was like, I can't even put my foot on the ground, and that was it.
So how did you make the transition from soccer to then tennis, or had you played tennis all the while?
You know, it was always side by side. It was always side by side kind of thing. And I got to travel around the world and meet tons and tons of professionals that just kept inspiring me. They're like, you know, I found something that inspired me in every sport or every discipline. And I'm like, wow, I aspire to be like this person. Martial arts, I saw it. I was like, wow, this is a great idol. You know, tennis, wow, this is fantastic. If it was a technique or like ground strokes, I was like, wow, this is great. And I watched and I studied and even tried to get in with their coaches and play. Okay, that's awesome. How do you serve like that? Holy crap, your second serve's like 230 kilometers an hour. That's second serve. I was like, that's insane. Your first serve, that's what the frick was. So that was always the mindset, right? Again, it's all in or nothing, right?
Right.
You could just float and cruise control and you're just going to blend in, or you could put that extra effort, right?
Nice.
You work out
I
2, 3, 4, 5 times a week, you get the result of that,
right.
right? You put in 2 minutes a day, you're gonna get the result of that too.
Fun Lars fact here. When I was in high school, probably between the age of like 14 and 17, I was scouted as a pitcher by a scout who was affiliated with the Montreal Expos and San Diego Padres. So
Nice.
that's the closest I came to living the sporting dream. But now another interesting connection between us. You you played a role in an action comedy called First Bust, and your character name was Axel. My dad's father's name is Axel. We have Danish heritage, so we have an Axel connection here. So
Nice.
um,
Nice.
when was First Bust? That's an action comedy, and that's a genre that I would love to do more of myself. Like, my background is comedy, but now I've been getting more in shape so that I can be like superhero kind of Marvel type movie, but action comedy is where I'd land. Tell me about that one.
And I think you'll do great because you have the height, you have the look, you're gonna be great. You know, with First Bust, it was very, very last minute. We shot it during a tornado warning over a span of 12 hours. And what had happened is I was invited to a festival in LA and they told me I was nominated for the Icon Award that was going to be presented by Bob Goldman, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger's partner. And he has something called the Sports Hall of Fame, where he inducted Chuck Norris, Randy Couture, all those old school heroes, Don the Dragon Wilson, um, you name it. Probably all these old school heroes are on there, and they said you're up for it and you're running against these people. Do you have anything new to show? And I was like, oh God, no, nothing, zilch. And I'm flying the weekend. This is on a Wednesday. And I said, oh man, okay. So I put up a fight team together, trained a bunch of guys. Two TV producers wanted to get into stunts. They're like, oh, it's going to be in LA. Can I please be in? Okay. So I have a very soft spot for helping people, and I put that choreography together, put them in the scene, and instead of it being a fight scene, as a standalone scene, we kind of worked backwards. And I kind of thought, okay, someone does something to my girlfriend, we're in a bar, and then we fight, and that's the end of it. And I said, that's kind of too cliche, it's already done. So that's when I kind of wrote in that other character of mine who actually was he's supposed to be the first guy that I fight. I turned him into my partner, and we're both these rookie cops that are complete morons. Yeah, we kind of, I reverse engineered it backwards as to how we ended up in this bar. And the movie it was a short film, 10 minutes, it did amazing. And then we are looking to make it into a feature film, and we were able to raise maybe like $8 million to make it happen. Jonah Hill wanted to play one of the characters, Scott Adkins. We were talking to Stallone. So it took off. It blew way out of proportion. But the plus side to that is when I went to LA, I got the award. So I go up there and I'm like, oh my God, Chuck Norris. Oh my God, Don Wilson Dragon. Oh my God, Ronnie Coleman. Holy crap, this is amazing. Cynthia Rothrock. Holy crap. Like, you were a kid watching these guys in their prime. And now, in a sense, I was like, oof, I'm humbled, but damn, now I got to keep pushing myself, because if I'm stepping into these shoes and spots, I'm like, oh man, then someone's going to potentially look at me the same way I looked up to them. So I can't just sit on my ass or cruise control. I got to keep pushing. And, it was insane. And I was like, well, I guess this is a sign, because Stallone is still Rambo and Rocky, and Arnold's still Terminator like a year ago, 2 years ago. It's still the same people. Our parents watched and we watched. So I was like, I think it's time somebody relieved them out of their capes and gloves, and, new blood, new generation kind of thing. So that was the story of the first bust. It was pretty interesting, very last minute, very last second. It's available online if you want to see the short. The feature film, we have the full script. It's probably going to be about an hour 40 minutes.
Nice.
Really cool. We changed it around, something that's never been done. It's action comedy again, but it's a formula that's never been done with a buddy cop genre. And this is what made it really unique.
All right. Well, if you're looking for a buddy, I'll be your buddy. We can eat lunch, and yeah, that's great.
But we got to do real lunch, not this kind of
right. Yeah. Yes. How's your sandwich, by the way?
Oh yeah, it's good. A few bites in.
On it.
Saving it. I don't know how long this is going to last for, but
it was interesting that that when you're on stage getting that award, that you're like, oh shit, now I'm an icon and role model. I got to really keep my game up. But that's a great mindset. I don't know if you've heard of him. Brendan Burchard is a high performance coach, sort of a Tony Robbins type. And one of his sort of keys to being a high performer, or things that he's found that high performers do, is they have a role model mindset, and it keeps their own personal bar very high, because they have the feeling that they're doing this not just for themselves, for other people who look to them. So, and it keeps you accountable to yourself, but for other people's sake. So that's
exactly.
really cool. How did you win an Icon Award at your age? Like, how old were you? People win Icon Awards when they're like...
I was early 30s.
Yeah, that's pretty good to be an icon at 30. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Another thing I wanted to talk about, in looking at your bio, and it's kind of pertinent right now. You did a feature film. I think it was a feature called Lost in the Pacific, which was a Chinese production, and you were one of the only Canadian actors. You want to tell us about that experience, especially now? Like, you must have ties with other Chinese filmmakers right now that you wouldn't have otherwise.
you know, with that movie, it was really cool because the story to that, I'm just gonna kind of digress for a second here, and this is for anyone that's trying to get into the industry or find more work, which tends to be the theme most of the time as an artist. It was through a connection that I developed with a PA who was here from Malaysia, and he was just carrying my stuff. He was literally my personal assistant. And I was super nice to him. He's a human, I'm a human. It didn't matter. I was carrying my own stuff. We're talking. I was asking him about his dreams, his visions, his goals. And he's like, you know, I'm just here doing my placement and I hope to one day be able to move to Toronto because, you know, here it's kind of like Hollywood. Here there's more movies and opportunities and shows and so on. I said, dude, this is amazing. And I would love to help you as much as I can. This was in 2011. He went back to Malaysia in 2012. In 2014, he becomes a production manager in Pinewood Studios in Malaysia.
Wow.
Now, they do a casting call where they wanted to do this Chinese Hollywood co-production, and it was going to be shot in Malaysia because in Malaysia, you're allowed to use guns and all that, whereas in China, it's a lot more stricter, unless you're working with Jackie Chan. But there was a lot more restrictions in China. Plus, the tax incentives were so much better in Malaysia. And when I went there, I was like, "What? They have a Pinewood? I thought that was just here, Lakeshore."
Right.
And that's when I realized, wow, they had Germany, they had like all around the world. I was like, interesting, cool. But moral of the story is I kept that connection alive, and I created it with a PA. It wasn't a director, it wasn't an AD. And he called me up literally 2 a.m. Hey, listen, this is happening here. I suggested you to this director, and I showed them your reel, and they love you, and they want you to play the main bad guy. And I said, cool, because usually I play the hero that's kind of breaking out of the character. And I read it, and I was like, I don't want to ruin the story if you haven't seen it. So I was like, find me a different character if possible. I have tons of stuff with guns and tons of stuff with kicks and what else is there? And they called me up. They said, okay, well, there's a role of the prince, and he's kind of the golden goose that everyone's trying to make happy. So I was like, okay, who else is part of the cast? And they said Brandon Routh, who's Superman from Superman Returns. I was like, sweet. So he was one of my co-stars. Russell Wong was the main bad guy from Romeo Must Die. He's Jet Li's best friend in the movie, right? So he was basically the guy that was literally trying to take care of me because I was going to be the biggest investor in this project in the movie, right? So all of these beautiful stars and talented people that came together and made it happen through a connection that was established here with a PA, right? So that's kind of the interesting part with that. And again, it's all personalities. It's all about how you treat people. People don't forget that, and they want to reciprocate it. They're like, hey, you know what? You could be the most talented person, but if you're a douche, no one wants to spend that time with you.
I love that, man. I have so many stories like that, and those are some of my favorite stories to share with friends. The connections on how they got gigs. I had a similar situation where I think it's been a year, maybe it was 2 years ago now, where I played a role it was an Iranian Canadian production. The director is a very, very well-known Iranian director, Abdul Reza Kahani is his name. And the lead is Reza Adaran, who is like Iran's Adam Sandler, for lack of a better comparison. And that started, I did way back before I ever did anything professionally. When I first started, I was doing short films, background work, little indie films, literally whatever I could get my hands on. And I did a Humber student film, and the lead in that, I became friends with him. And this was probably like, now this would be nine years ago, or maybe 6 years before I did the role in the Iranian film. And it was just because we met on set, had good vibes, kept in touch. We'd never worked together, but I would see him, like he'd post his demo or a clip from his show, and I'd be like, hey, Eric, what's up? Like, congrats, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. And then last minute, somebody from that film dropped out. Somehow one of the producers or production coordinators knew Eric and asked, they were like, do you know any Toronto actors? and he messaged me, sent my stuff, direct booking, no audition, didn't have to send them a demo reel or anything. It was basically headshots, and maybe they looked at my IMDb. But it was such an amazing experience, because of that. It came solely out of like the positive nepotism of the business. Like it is true, it's who you know, but I think that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's a good thing. You just create strong relationships. And then I don't know about for you, but for me, the amazing thing was, and I had this feeling on set, like, what an amazing thing that I'm meeting people from Iran, which I would never have met otherwise. And there was a language barrier. So the director spoke, I guess, Farsi would be the language. And he also spoke French because he lives in Paris now. He can't make these movies in Iran, like under penalty of imprisonment and or death, because he does like comedic kind of edgy type stuff. The film's called Free Like Air for anyone listening. It's still in post-production, but you can look up Abdul Reza Kahani or Reza Adaran. They're both on Instagram. And so there was a weird, like, there was a straight up language barrier. I couldn't speak the same language. So the director would come to me. I'd stand there with the director and my co-stars in the scene. He would explain it all in Farsi, and I would watch him and kind of get his intention and kind of get the nonverbal part of his communication. Then an AD or a production coordinator, whoever the translator was that day, would then relay all that to me in English. Then we'd play out the scene. He'd watch, give his direction and redirections and feedback in Farsi. I'd watch him to kind of get the vibe of it and feel what he's saying, then hear the English and then redo it. So like, it was amazing. It was an amazing experience. And I remember having the feeling that it's like making a movie and TV and a film set is such a collaborative thing and demands such a high level of teamwork, only like sports, the military, and a high level volunteer corporate organization, to the point that if a team isn't working well, the whole thing's a shit show. I'm sure you've been on sets where the leadership or the communication or the vibe or the teamwork is all off and it's just drudgery. Everyone's in a bad mood. But I was on that set where this was cross cultures, cross language, and I'm like, they're making this happen. And it did feel like, it was like, man, what a blessing that I'm involved with this and I'm meeting people across the globe that I would never meet otherwise. So I'm sure you had that feeling when you were working with them too. It's super cool.
And the beauty is, for anyone that's listening or kind of in the transition or even first steps into the industry, is all that stuff was done with no agent. So if someone's like, oh, I don't have an agent, or my agent is really slow, or I don't know if my agent is working hard, you better be working as well, not just your agent. Don't just kick back and lean back and expect them to do all the hunting for you. Look at it like a collaboration, a friendship, a team, a unit. Instead of one hunter, there's two hunters now for the job.
Right. And when you think of the agent relationship, the reality is they might have 50 people on their roster or 100 people on their roster, and there's only so many time so much time in the day, only so much you can occupy their brain, but you're you 100% of the time, 24/7, and you have all the time in your own life. So I've always been the same way, where building connections, looking for gigs on my own, trying to be one step ahead of my agent so that I'm introducing people to her, almost saying like, hey, like, we want to make this happen. Do you want to be involved in this? Or like that sort of thing. I think that's great. You're a perfect example of that. Speaking of being a self-starter, you're also an entrepreneur. We met at the Movie Expo, which was a film industry convention. Laughing Vikings had a booth there. We were lucky enough to have a booth. You gave us a lot of perks and extra amenities and things. I feel like you went above and beyond. Do you want to explain how the Movie Expo, maybe what it is and how that came about?
Yeah, I mean, as a performer, I kind of wanted to help. Like we spoke about it earlier. It's one of the biggest things that I really, really live for, which is you realize now with the whole COVID thing, it could all be taken quicker than you can blink. It's what you leave behind kind of thing. And I said, okay, well, you know what? As somebody who's gone through all these bumps and all these struggles and have walked through the different walks of the actor shoe or performer shoe, um, what if I could be that person along with my partner and create a platform that basically shines a light that we wish we had when we first started off. But at the same time, we're also going to appreciate a lot of the people that are behind the scenes that are typically underappreciated. Meaning 99% of the times on the red carpet, you're not going to see the makeup, the hairstylists, the stunts, the catering, all the people that make it possible for these people to go super long hours and to look their best and perform their best. But you will get the stars, the performers. We said, okay, we're gonna, look at all these different bumps and holes and gaps and try and fill it accordingly. And the movie Expo was born. And, one, as a student, you're always looking for your next out. Two, as a performer, you're always looking for your next connection. And three, if you are behind the scenes, you're looking for more connections, more business relations, and more projects to be on. And of course, it's a bonus for you to get appreciated and to showcase your toys, showcase your studio, showcase your facility, showcase how much your art means to you, but how much the art also completes the full picture of the entire movie.
Right. Yeah. When people don't realize, you're right, like all of the press and all of the front of the movie, and obviously when you're watching the movie you're only seeing visually the stars, but everyone who sticks around, when you stick around for the credits, you see pages and pages and pages of small names that are not getting the credit. It's like, it's a massive, sometimes hundreds and hundreds of people on a set doing all these, and they're all humans. They all have, this is their livelihood, and a lot of them are like true artists, like a wardrobe person or a set deck person, or even some of the carpenters building the sets. Like, they're putting their art and their creativity into everything to make everything perfect. It's amazing.
Just picture the Avengers or Justice League and remove all the computer graphics and remove all the wardrobe. That movie will never look, the characters will never be the same ever again.
Yeah, literally just guys standing around in an empty room.
Right? Imagine Superman, taking the bus to go from point A to point B, or Flash, point A to point B, or, Thor without the lightning. He's holding a freaking hammer like he got it out of Home Depot. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. That's the blessing of having the team and having these specialty departments. So it only makes sense for us to respect them and to honor them. And that's basically the Movie Expo in a nutshell.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a great time there. A lot of it for me was to meet other actors through the studio and expose them to Laughing Vikings as a resource and self-tape studio. But the bigger reason than that, I just wanted to meet the other vendors. I met Daniel Levinson from Rapier Wit, who does all kinds of stunt stuff, as you know. I already took a course. I took the firearms course with them, which was amazing.
Mandy and all these guys. And I mean, your services were amazing. People loved it. And anyone that's watching this is one of the kryptonites that we have as actors. Trust me, from both of us over here. You have your camera, you have your light, you have your script, you have it down, but you don't have a reader. One, it sucks. So you need someone that can read. And oftentimes, mom, dad, sister, brother, cat, dog, fish, they don't do a good job. But also in a sense that the positioning, you have the backdrop, you have everything that's necessary. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, is the lighting good? Do you see shadows? Is this background too busy? Is it this? Just go, it's simple, go get it done, get out of the way from somebody that knows how it's done. And that's why. But again, it's for people like yourself, companies like yourselves, businesses like yourself, where nobody knew it existed. But now it's also a very competitive area. So people want to talk to other people and be like, oh, what is it you do? Cool, great, that's a great service, thank you. If only and personally me too, if only I knew about your existence years ago, weeks ago, months ago, I would have been there doing my self-tape, right?
Now,
So
obviously, for those people listening, if you don't know, all of the TV film industry commercials, no permits are being issued. It's entirely shut down, like a lot of businesses right now. So we're not doing any self-tapes here, but I did, as a result of all this, launch a virtual self-tape option so that we can do Zoom calls, and they've worked pretty well, because I think what'll happen is when we do come back, there's going to be some people who won't want to leave and won't want to go across town. And there's going to be a boom in self tapes, because casting directors aren't going to want to have 50 people jammed in a waiting room. So I think when we do all go back to work, it seems like that'll be July at the earliest, but I think we'll be fine. Now, your movie expo, you guys did make the decision to delay that. It was the second annual was scheduled for September, but you've moved it to next year.
yeah, we kind of postponed it way before it became a crazy thing. You know, we were still sitting on the fence, and we're like, okay, maybe it's gonna pass, maybe it's not gonna hit the Americas as bad, maybe it's just gonna stay in Asia, or maybe it's gonna slow down when it gets to Europe, and so on and so forth. And then when it started getting to the NBA and hockey and everything, we're like, oh, okay, it seems like the right thing to do. Let's see what happens, because maybe it's just, you know, because you got these pro athletes, and they were like, okay, well, we have our guests that are coming in. We don't want to put their life at risk, or any of the guests, or any of the vendors, sponsors that are coming in, out of respect, out of value, out of cherishing the relationships we had. We're like, you know what? The best thing to do is just postpone it. And we waited, and we started seeing it became like a martial law almost. It's like everyone's going to shut down, no meetings, no gatherings, 500 and then 100 and then 50 and then 5 and then 2. And we're like,
Right.
perfect decision.
I mean, I can only imagine that the organization to put on such a large event, the lead up time for that is so long,
It's about a year.
months in advance. So if you can't be having any conversations where people are planning things right now, because nobody can plan anything. So
no one knows. It's the unknown, right? So
right. Yeah,
no one's going to make any promises, because there's nothing tangible.
Right.
Right.
But
It's not like you. Yeah.
I know you guys will be back. So if you're watching or listening this, Instagram is @MovieExpo is the best place for them to find that. I'll link up your Instagram as well. I've got a few more questions. One of the question is, and maybe give me two answers for this. One related to the situation we're in right now with COVID, and one assuming this wasn't all happening. But if Taz Garcia was world president, or whatever title you'd want to have, king of the world, what law or rule would you enact to make the world a better, more efficient place? Maybe not more efficient. I just say better, whatever your term of better is.
Okay, so from being a teacher and seeing a lot of troubled kids that are oftentimes bullies, or not able to focus, or jumping around, or doing whatever it is, class clowns, to get someone's attention, a lot of times it comes from home or a lack of something. So when you look at some of the leaders in the world, it's a reflection on the citizens sometimes, and sometimes the citizens are a reflection of, we're going to say, quote unquote, the parent or the head of that company or the head of that country. So if you lead by example, and you show a certain amount of respect and mercy, and instead of sitting there and delegating, which delegating sometimes has to be done, but if you're the first one with the torch, and you're like, follow me, instead of just throwing it there and telling everyone walk that direction, how they react to you is going to be completely different. So if you show them and then lead by example, but most importantly, inspire them, they will want to listen, they will want to change, they will want to do above and beyond. But if you're doing it where everyone's kind of like, oh, I can't wait to get off at 4. Oh, I'm just doing it because I have to, or I'm going to lose my paycheck. I'm just doing it because he could literally kill me, or he could just throw me behind where the sun don't shine, whatever it is. That's probably the very first thing I would do is.
So that's your leadership style. That's the style of leadership. But what's your first decree, your first rule of law that you sign off on?
Do I have a few options I can choose from?
Of course. Yeah. You're world president. You can You can make them
What
all.
are the options?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. But what about now? What do you think if you were in charge of this now, what would you be doing?
To survive, people have to prepare, because if you react, sometimes it's too late.
So in what sense, or what kind of things are you doing right now then?
Me as a person, or me as king of the world?
You, the person, if you're saying, if the answer is make sure you're being preparing for things, what do you think people should be doing right now?
Okay, so one of the first things, if we're talking about what they should be doing at home, is stock up, because at any point in time, it could be literally martial law, it could be anyone that gets outside of the house within the next 10 days gets arrested, gets fined, gets detention, gets whatever it is. Have a supply that would last you at least 2 weeks. And by that, I don't mean snacks, I mean essentials. Stuff that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be, wow, delicious. Yeah, I'll eat it every day. But again, survival is not about having choice. It's not about being picky. It's about life or death. So, I mean, right under this desk here, I have supply that would last me 3 weeks. And that includes everything from water, canned food, pasta, whatever it is, everything that's fatty and proteiny and starchy and carby that would fill me up without going too long. In lack of health, it would fill me up with the right nutrition. It would fill me up in a sense where I can go on for a while without having to snack and munch on a bunch of stuff. And it's funny because I see all these posts now where people are like, oh, I stacked up, but I ended up munching through it all when I binged this Netflix show, right? So you really got to have it. It's kind of like a savings, right? You're not going to touch your savings. It's an investment. Put it away, put it aside, and then you have your daily spendings, which is, again, at this point, just because it's there doesn't mean keep dipping your hand in that jar. You know what I mean? You got to understand that this is a time of emergency where literally at any point in time, they could officially close, just like everything has been slowly closing. For whatever reason it is, it's in every product that's in the grocery stores now. And it's going to take 2 weeks to clean up and sanitize every freaking product that's been there because this last shipment from XYZ was contaminated. Now what? Right? So there's never going to be a worst case scenario. And I mean, again, this happens with filmmaking too. You have your ideal. Yeah, it's going to be 6 hours, 16 hours later, right? Prepare for that. Oh, it's going to be beautiful and sunny. You go outside and it's freaking raining, thunderstorm, snowstorm, sandstorm. You got to prepare. Okay, if this happens, what are we going to do? Are we going to sit here and cry, or are we going to move on and shoot all the interior shots? Do we have an alternative location if this one is burned down? You know, if it's flooded? And I'm speaking because this has happened.
Right. Yeah.
True experience. You know what I mean? So you always got to have your plan. And again, when you're prepared, you're never going to have to fall in that predicament of saying, oh man, I wish. It's better safe than sorry, right? So if you have this stuff, guess what? It's all over. They call tomorrow. They say it's done. COVID-19's over. Woohoo! Guess what? You have extra food for the next 2 weeks to cook at home. Win-win.
Yeah, and there's also, I think that kind of also relates, you might have heard the term like the best way to help the poor is to not be one of them. The best way to help the sick is to not be one of them. So if you have some supplies and you're taking care of your own health and fitness and your own security, then you also have the ability potentially to help other people when they need it. But if you have no food, you're not going to be spending any time helping other people get food, that's for sure, because your own survival instincts are going to kick in. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, a lot of people, when that whole phase of people buying like 200 rolls of toilet paper and all that, I was like, guys, you know what? Toilet paper, okay, whatever. Like, I'm not even going to get into that topic, but the sanitizer thing, I was like, guys, you sanitize yourself. You shower in the sanitizer, good for you. But then the other person across the street or your neighbor might not have had that sanitizer, and now they're going to void everything that you've done.
right.
If they're sanitized, I'm sanitized, we're good to go. But if I'm sanitized, you're not, then we're screwed.
Right. It only
right?
works
People
if there's
really
enough sanitizer to go around. Yeah.
Exactly. They're not really thinking straight, right? So it's little things like that. And then in terms of one of the most important things is people have to be trying their best to understand that stress activates these cells, any sickness really. Plus it ages you. Plus it depletes your immune system. And what ends up happening is, if you're stressing here, oh my God, is it going to hit me next? Oh my God, am I going to get it? Oh my God, when's it going to be done? Oh my God, when am I going to go back to work? I'm stressing, I'm lowering my defense system. What's going to happen is, if for whatever reason I get it, instead of my immune system being on guard and ready to fight with 10 people, now I only have like 2 people just hanging out there trying to do the job of 10 others. And odds are they're going to go down.
That's why a lot of people, I mean, there's 2 reasons. A lot of people say that it's the fear pandemic is the bigger issue. One, for economic reasons, everyone freaks out and the markets and everything, supply lines should hit the shit hits the fan. But also that if your fight or flight and anxiety and stress and fear is up there, yeah, it's cortisol levels. So you're constantly running at a lowered immunity, and then you're more vulnerable to stuff too. So I've been really trying to focus on eating and focus on positivity. I've got like more so than ever in the studio, I've got like mantras on the wall. I've got something like on my mirror, it literally says, something like, we're going to get through this and be better because of it. Bigger, better, stronger, faster, unstoppable, like no virus will, like all that kind of mentality.
Exactly. And I mean, see, that's the whole thing. People right now, I feel like it's white or black, left or right, where people need to understand you're not gonna, if you were never that kind of personality where it's like, yeah, put me in a cave and I'm gonna come out a master. I built the Iron Man suit in there.
Right.
Not everyone's gonna have that mentality. People are like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. What are we gonna do now? It's okay to feel that way too. Right? It's okay. It's perfectly fine, because it's not something that happens every day. So for a lot of people, they're still in shock. They're still trying to understand what just happened.
They're literally going through the phases of grief right now. Where
Exactly.
it's like denial,
Exactly. I mean,
anger,
it's
bargaining.
perfectly fine, but they got to understand, if you're a ball or if you're a fighter and you hit hard, the good news is once you hit the ground, there's only one way to go from there, and that's bounce back up. Right? So they just need to understand it's part of the process. It's just going to take time, and hopefully it's not going to take a lot of time and super long time for them to bounce back up. Right? So whether it's quotes, whether it's shows, whether it's talking to people, FaceTiming people, feeling like you're part of a sad tribe that's hyping itself up and working its way back up from the ground, whatever works for you, works for you. You know, like, people don't need more of that stress. It's kind of like, yeah, I'm creative, I'm productive, woohoo, you suck, you should adapt, use this time to build. It's okay to feel broken, because it's not something that is supposed to happen to everyone. For them to be like, yeah, okay, I can fight. No, not everyone's a fighter. Some people are innately fighters, some are flighters. They just take off, oh my God, right? It's okay, right? The important thing is to kind of find something that works for you to pivot you and make you more flexible so you don't snap and break. That's it.
Right. So hopefully you can grow from this. Do you have any favorite books, like authors, podcasts, any of that kind of stuff that has had a big influence on you or continues to have a big influence on you?
Oh man, there's tons and tons and tons of books. I've read 5 books over the last maybe 3 days. One of them is actually what I have this tripod on. It's called Tools of Titans by Tim Ferris.
Love it. Yeah, it's massive. It's like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a great book. I read a bunch of other books, acting related, audition related, self-tape related, directing related, investments related, conspiracy theory related. I mean, it's one of those things where you never want to be just one dimensional. You want to see, okay, I see this opinion. I understand this. I see why they could think that. And this kind of helps you understand the world and people better. You know, if you're just like, no, this is the way, then you're never going to grow. But again, nothing wrong with that. If you're one-dimensional, you're one-dimensional.
You mentioned Kryptonite earlier. What I want to know is, what's Taz's Kryptonite? You're such an achiever. You've achieved such high level, obviously health, fitness, your discipline, your work ethic, all of that is there. But what's your Achilles heel? Do you have one? If you were your own therapist, what is it for you?
A big kryptonite is me.
In what sense?
I'm very honest with myself, and a lot of people, especially in the industry, they're their worst own critics. So there's always room for us to improve it. You'll do an audition, you'll walk out, the second you walk out, like, why did I say it this way? Why couldn't I have done it that way? Oh my God, now I get, I remember, that's good, but I could have jumped higher, done it better, ran faster. Why didn't I do it earlier? Blah, blah, blah. And literally that's the thing. I'm usually very hard on myself before anyone else looks at it. But I love the constructive criticism because that's how I grow. You know, I don't take it, if you watch a movie and you're like, oh my God, Taz, you sucked. I'm like, really? Why? I'm not offended at all. I just want to know why, because maybe you're absolutely right. And I use my fans and my friends and my family as different compasses to guide me, right? So I use it because, okay, it's the exact same theory with sports, right? Your fans are your guide, right? Oh, they're cheering. Okay, they want to see more of this. They're not cheering. They want to see less of that. They're booing. Oh, what did I do wrong here, right? And it's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same mentality with the competitiveness, with being on edge, with being your best self all times. You snooze, you lose, you cruise control. Someone else that's hungrier like you were yesterday is going to zoom right past you. And that's basically the way it is, right? So Kryptonite, I'm my biggest kryptonite.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it does seem that like every high performer, it's a balance of that self-critique that maintains a high bar. So everything you look at, you do need to kind of see what could you improve, where did you drop the ball. But that seems to be, you have to balance that with self-love and positivity so that you're not just beating the shit out of yourself every day and thinking that you suck and that you're no good. So it's that weird paradox of feeling good but not quite satisfied with it, so that you want to improve it but you still like it. Like,
and really the reality is, at the end of the day, when all the bells, whistles, celebrations, red carpets, friends and family are gone, you're sitting there or sleeping there, laying down there by yourself. You're like, deep down inside, you know, right? So if I'm working out, people are like, oh my God, man, you're so fit. I wish I was like this. And not to fish for compliments. I'm like, dude, I'm nowhere near fit. I'm not saying that to be like, no, bro, you're the best. No, dude, what do you mean? I wish I was I get it all the time. Like, no, you don't understand. Where you see yourself, if I'm looking at me outside of my body and I'm looking where I used to be, and now I'm here, or now I'm here, but to somebody else, that's basically the equivalent of being up here. I'm like, I'm critiquing myself because I know I could be up here.
right.
I know instead of putting half an hour, I know when I used to put 2 hours. You know, I know when I could read 2 books instead of 3 pages and then get on my phone. That's basically because I know deep down inside, right? They don't know. They just see the out frame and they're like, oh, well, you're fit. Maybe from the external, the internal could be a completely different story.
What do you do for workouts right now during all this?
Lots and lots and lots of different routines. I've been having a few Instagram live workouts actually, which it's been pretty fun because a lot of people are always asking, what do you do to stay fit? And I've been sharing a lot of the routines I typically do on set. So unless you're The Rock, you don't have a gym that's walking around or freaking transported around the world with you. But a lot of body weight stuff usually. So push-ups, chin-ups, crunches, lunges, burpees, jumps, stills, martial arts, stretches. There's tons and tons and stuff, tons of stuff that can be done. And I mean, you can use everyday items, chairs, sofas, couches, countertops, racks, water bottles, wine bottles, whatever it is, books. Everything can be used as a workout, as an add-on to your body weight. The most important thing, it doesn't matter what shape, size it comes in, is the fact that you just got to make sure you stay active so you don't become like a freaking 2x4.
Right. Yeah. Isn't it amazing how little people need? Like, we overcomplicate this. Humans overcomplicate everything. We're like, I need a gym. I need a Bowflex. I need 15 machines. Literally, if you got up every morning and did 15 minutes of jumping jacks, you'd probably be pretty fit, you know? And if you want to throw in some push-ups and some air squats, then really you don't need to do anything else. Like, it's amazing how complicated people make this. So I think we're probably coming to the close here. Anything that you want to share that you got planned right now in the future beyond obviously there's a little uncertainty of when our true future begins. That's not locked down like this, but what are you working on? What's going on?
So yeah, there's a few things. I just finished writing 1 out of 5 scripts, and I started doing self-tape auditions already. So I got the first dozen auditions last night. They've been great, and it's really cool because you see how hungry some of the actors are. And then hopefully when all this is done, we're gonna get to camera right away. I have a comedy that's going to be in the works as well, and then there's going to be a web series in the works. There's the first bus feature that we're going to be working on as well, and hopefully somewhere along the lines, we're going to see the release of the last movie I filmed with Jackie Chan and John Cena.
Amazing.
So that was shot near the end of 2018, and it bled into January, February of 2019. Jackie loves to be in the room, which, by the way, it's his birthday today.
I saw you post. When I first saw you post, I didn't see the happy birthday, and I was like, oh, no, please tell me Jackie Chan didn't die.
No.
I thought it was a death post.
66. Yeah, so he ended up working on another project that I couldn't do it for conflict of schedules, but it's called Vanguard, that was released before Project X, which is now Project Extraction, X with the X letter. So I mean, we're still waiting on the release of that, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, Jackie was there, John Cena was there, Pilo Asbeck from Game of Thrones, he plays my boss in there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and we're waiting for the release of that. I don't know, they said China release in 2020 at some point, and then probably there's going to be a US release at some point as well.
Amazing. Congrats. We'll look forward to it. I'm excited for the next movie expo, and I'm excited to continue doing stuff with you. Every time we've hung out and seeing what you're doing online, I've always been really impressed, and I've really started to measure myself based on sort of the circle of friends and peers around me. So I'm very thankful that you're a part of that, and hanging out with you makes me feel better about myself because you're a fucking champ.
Dude, we should do it. We should do this a lot more often.
We should be in an action movie together, really. I can be the villain and you can be the hero, or we can be on the same team, whatever works.
I think we can do a little nice twist there. We can have villain and hero, and then really it's the opposite.
Ooh, I like it. I like it. All right. All right. Well, you've been listening to Lunch with Looney and Lars. Be sure to follow @LaughingVikings on Instagram and Facebook. If you're watching this right now, you can listen to it on any of the podcast platforms. And be sure to connect with Taz as well. He's on Instagram @Taz Garcia Official, TazGarcia Official. And we'll be linking it up too, so you'll look for that. And if you're a supporter of Laughing Vikings and a supporter of the show, and you want to support us more, you can go to our patronage hub, which is at patreon.com/laughingvikings. There's different membership levels, different perks. You can get behind the scenes access. If you're a small business, you can sponsor one of the shows, or corporately, you can sponsor all the way up to an executive producer level. Final question, Taz, before we leave. How was your lunch?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I'm halfway through, and I think now we can cheers to finish off the second cold half.
Chris, if you can play us out, cheers. Here we go. Thank you, Taz. This is good. Let's just...